Good evening and welcome. My name is Rob, aka Lantern Noir, and we are currently deciding what to do with our coming level up. But more importantly, we're playing Ravenloft 1921 tonight. We are on episode 4, which is our pre-modern, the Mummy with Brandon Fraser crossed with Curse of Strahd. Because who doesn't want more Brandon Fraser in your life? Yet somehow these amazing people, no one's playing Brandon Fraser. But we've got just about everybody else in there.
Me? I can sort of be Brendan Fraser.
We do have the Barbarian. So let's
I'm more like a what's her name?
You're the Evie character.
What's her name?
I'm Evie, there we go.
Yeah, that's well and truly established.
Yeah.
The question is how well Andy will handle the fact that we all think of Luis as kind of the Jonathan character.
Jonathan is the best, okay? Jonathan is the best. I will not stand for any Jonathan slander.
Yeah, it was Jonathan or Benny, and I'm leaving it up to the day.
Fair enough.
I
mean, Benny's great too.
I would like to think that this group doesn't have a Benny
yet.
Benny is an NPC that we'll run into later.
So let's go around the table. OuterDork, you can kick us off with our introductions. Who are you? Who are you playing tonight? And what did you do for your level 3 level up?
All right, I am the OuterDork. I am playing Luis Harburg, the stage magician / warlock, and he has added to his repertoire the Pact of the Tome, giving me multiple cantrips from other classes to just further completely and utterly mess with Rob. As he frantically digs for my character sheet.
I'm like, do I even want to see?
I didn't go as crazy as I could have, but I did take slide into DMs.
You did take slide into DMs because that's exactly what Agnes needs.
I mean, I'm already telepathic. This just lets me do it at longer range.
We didn't do health already, right?
You will
get a long rest.
You will have a long rest within
the
the first 15-20 minutes tonight. Unless you do something completely nuts, there won't be combat between now and the long rest. So you can have a little bit. That's why it's like to start the level up.
Define completely nuts. I take that as a challenge.
Oh, crap.
No.
June, introduce yourself, please, hon.
Hi, I'm June. I'm playing Agnes Devereaux, the very skeptic explorer archeologist. And for my roguish subclass, I chose the Inquisitive. So I'm going all brains in here.
Okay, fair enough. Yes, the insightful fighting, sneak attacks, even when you shouldn't have it.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
More sneak attack is better. Yes.
But eye for detail, though. You can use a bonus action to make a perception.
Yes, also handy. Handy.
Or investigation to uncover or decipher clues.
Jinkies. Kaidamon, did you come up with a plan?
Yes, I did.
Floor is yours.
Hello, I am Kaidapon. I am a streamer. I stream on Thursdays in a game that I'm in, and then I let Lantern run this one. I let Rob take hold of this one because it's his game. I chose for Darling, Path of the Zealot, Braxter Damouge, and Radiance, because more things to make Agnes question what's happening. Why is your weapon glowing? I don't know. Maybe the ghost is taking possession of it.
Do we have glow sticks yet? Wait,
oh my
glow in
God.
the dark things. Wait, we probably did. We had a.
You're not allowed.
What is it? Uranium?
Radium.
Radium.
I painted my weapon.
Yeah. What was the glass? Irradiated glass that glows green under black light.
So, Arwen, how did we do with our decision making?
I am down to 2 choices.
Ooh.
Working on it.
We're gonna help you pick.
I feel like Way of Mercy would be the most useful because it has healing capabilities, but I feel like Way of the Kensei would be more thematic.
Go theme.
Go theme.
As
Theme.
go theme, while you're clicking the buttons to go theme, and welcome
Well,
by
I'm
the way to
also
Ratty.
looking at the like the abilities to see if I even want that. But
Fair enough. We
Go
did
ahead.
agree that healing potions are not necessarily a thing in this world, but because we tend to err on the side of hit points as vitality, a good whiskey has the same healing effects as a healing potion. Just get you up there and feel the fight.
Would this town even have good whiskey?
Well,
Or would it just have generic
yeah, now we're down
alcohol?
to okay. Do we have alcohol? Like,
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
alcohol
we probably
available?
have some sort of moonshine.
well, at this point, with what you've been through, I'm not sure there's anything as bad whiskey.
That's true.
Fair.
As
Real
a
fair.
matter
Fair.
of
Fair
perspective,
point.
it's all good whiskey at a certain point. But
Booze is booze.
my name is Rob. I'll be playing everybody else. By way of a very brief catch up for those that are new or joining us for the first time, or just don't remember what happened before we left off after our last session. The party, the investigators, I have finally stumbled into what I'm supposed to call everybody here. The investigators have survived a plane crash in Eastern Europe. They've made their way through some adventures, exploring that this world, wherever they are, definitely seems to have been touched by the supernatural. They have journeyed into a valley where they have found themselves in a small, sleepy hamlet, more or less abandoned, although there are signs of life behind closed and barred doors. They found their way to the center of the town, where they made themselves guests at the Blood on the Vine Tavern, having met one young man named Ismark, who offered to take them up to give them boarding for the night if they would help him secure the house against attack. You see, his father is the mayor or burgomaster, who has passed away, his heart having failed while defending the house until now. And they're also hoping to have an opportunity to lay him in rest at the town's chapel. Ismark also has a sister he's mentioned the party has not yet met, whose name is Irina. They were on their way up to the mansion when they also noticed that in a large clearing just next to it, there was an aircraft parked. And as they all kind of went, "Meh?" That's where we cut off 2 weeks ago. Are there addendums to the minutes as proffered?
I move to accept the minutes as read.
There appears to be no dissension, so the minutes are accepted via unanimous consent. And we pick up where we left off. You're walking up towards the house. You've spotted the aircraft. There's probably enough like flat grass before the tree line and then the rolling hills pick up for it to get airborne, at least as near as you can tell from your limited time in aerodomes and airports, depending on what country you're in at the time. And then you have a chance to approach the house itself.
Sorry, I'm still reading.
Nobody
Is
likes
it
a
a-
hungry warlock.
What?
What's that?
I just said nobody likes a hungry warlock as I frantically chew on my rice.
That's fair.
I had rice for lunch too.
That's fair.
Same. I'm about to have more rice for dinner.
This episode brought to you by rice.
It
I
is
was-
white as me.
I was supposed to have fettuccine alfredo, but I'll
Yes.
take that up with Grubhub later.
Oh yeah, that's a
Well,
downgrade.
true.
Yeah.
True. That is a thing.
Yes, this is my sadness rice.
Let's see.
So, can I ask about the plane as we're moseying up the hill with a slightly inebriated Istmark?
Yes. Who has significantly sobered
Oh, marvelous.
during the walk? The walk, the fresh air, and the fact that, oh my gosh, there are other people here to help seems to have kicked him a bit back into a decent headspace, as it
It's
were.
wonderful.
He'll glance off as, oh yes. That was a project. It came here about a year ago, I believe.
Is it functional?
I haven't seen it take off since it's landed.
Who landed it?
A gentleman of some renown. He claimed to be attempting to take that craft some grand distance. Was having mechanical difficulties, I believe, is what he referred to as before he landed.
Another round the world in 80 days, chaps.
Yes, I have very little interaction with him, I'm afraid. Aside from a clearing being close to the house, he did not engage us very much. He mostly took to the town.
Now?
Well, that is a complicated matter and a rather long story. Perhaps we should leave it at he will not be taking the plane on the rest of his journey.
Understood.
Is he dead?
I cannot say that with certainty, ma'am,
Okay.
but I would assume so at this stage.
Okay.
Ah, darling, ever the circumspect one.
I'm not even entirely sure how the thing works, to be quite honest. And as you get closer up to the house, you can see that the land is slowly reclaiming it. Grasses have grown up high around it, and there's bits of rust forming on the aluminum. It's like, maybe it'll be airworthy. Maybe.
With a lot of TLC.
How big is this plane? Is it like a one-person carry plane? Is it like a small passenger sort of thing?
Best categorized as small passenger. It could probably sit 6 to 8.
Okay.
You could possibly get airborne with 10, but you would have to have at least 4 of them clinging to the wings.
Okay.
It can be done.
Not safely, though. Who cares about that?
Debatable.
As you approach the house itself, a weary-looking mansion squats behind a rusting iron fence. The iron gates are twisted and torn. The right gate lies cast aside, while the left swings lazily in the wind. Creaks repetitive, the dull clanging, with a constant, steady, metronome-like consistency. Weeds choke the grounds and press with menace upon the house itself. Yet against the walls, the growth has been tramped down to create a path all about the domain. Heavy claw markings have stripped the once beautiful finish off the wooden exterior. Great black marks tell of the fires that have assailed the mansion. Not a pane nor shard of glass stands in any window, all of which are barred with planks, and each marked with stains of evil omen.
Sounds pleasant.
Your home seems to have seen better days, Istmark.
Yes, it has been a very challenging time. The attacks have been relentless this last fortnight.
Attacks by whom?
Let us speak once we're inside.
Okay.
Fair enough.
The wind picks up just slightly as you come through the gate, slamming it shut behind you with a clang against the other metal. And you make your way up towards it.
I'm gonna whisper to Darling, from one dilapidated house to another. I hope this isn't the theme for our endeavors.
You know, one could only hope. Though to be fair, we were on our way to Egypt, which is all about mummies and curses and stuff, and
Those things were built to last for centuries. This looks like it was only meant to last a decade.
That usually makes the death count worse.
As you approach the house, Ismark will pretend he didn't hear that badly. And he does glance over his shoulder as he gets to the threshold and begins to pull out a small ring with a set of keys on it and starts to turn each one of the locks. For what it's worth, this house has been in the family for well over a century. But you're not wrong. As I said, the last fortnight has been challenging, to say the least. Even Father's heart could not handle the stress. Thankfully, the walls have. And he opens the door and ushers you in.
All right, let's go in.
Mm-hmm.
The interior of the mansion is well furnished, yet the fixtures show signs of great wear. Noticeable oddities are the boarded-up windows and the presence of holy symbols in every room. The Burgomaster is in a side drawing room on the floor, lying in a simple wooden coffin, surrounded by wilting flowers and the faint odor of decay.
Fun times.
As you step into the foyer, Ismark cannot help but acknowledge his father laying in state in the sitting room, and will actually gesture towards the library opposite for you to meet in.
Well, if nothing else, it smells like Egypt.
Have you actually been to Egypt before?
I have, but the smell of rotting corpses is honestly somewhat comforting at this point.
Fair enough.
I'm just gonna look at her like, you're weird.
You're not wrong.
I like shake my head like, okay.
Oh, great! What did
Give me
you
a sec.
do?
I'll be back. I accidentally hit the cord for my camera,
Stutter.
and it decided that it wanted to be no.
All right, just as long as you're guys, there was a little banter, and you're weird, and then boom, June's gone. I'm like, oh man.
Like, oh no, I know.
I'm
like,
fine. The camera just got mad that it got a little moved.
I didn't mean it.
Like, nobody even said yellow to me.
Baby, come back.
She's out. Nope.
Okay, cool.
I was never gone.
Cool. Yeah, he will gesture though for you to come into the library. And again, there what once were great windows looking out over the town, as you could imagine the view would be on a bright day, and now replacing them are just shafts of wood of different sizes and make, just covering every surface that would open outwards between the bookcases, making the room feel dark and almost as if it's actively shrinking as you come into the space. I do appreciate you coming up here. I believe my sister is upstairs. I will fetch her in a moment.
Is there anything we need to be aware of when we meet your sister?
No. Not that I can think of. Is there something that you're concerned of?
No. I just noticed she wasn't in town with you, and I didn't know if she was sickly or not feeling well.
No. But she dares not leave the house. The Lord of the Valley has taken a shine to her, and it has been all that we can to keep her safe.
The Lord of the what now?
The attacks on the house, they've been coordinated by his minions.
lord attacking his subjects. That seems counterintuitive to support.
What sort of minions exactly?
Mostly wolves in their entirety, but there have been the sounds of footsteps. Since we've had to board the windows up, it's hard to see exactly what creatures throw themselves against our barricades, pound against the door, pry at the windows.
Clearly not wolves. Not a lot of prying done by wolves.
Mm-hmm.
Are these like servants, man-at-arms? The Unquiet Dead? You know, what are we talking about here?
Unquiet dead?
The Lord of the Ravenloft commands everything in this valley. It could be all of those or more.
Oh.
It's not
Fair
uncommon.
enough.
It is not uncommon to see one who you saw fall in a fight with a wolf marching along a road a day later.
Darling's just gonna stare at Agnes like, oh, come on, go on. Let's hear it. Let's hear an explanation for that one.
Agnes is gonna keep quiet because clearly this man is off his rockers, and also still kind of drunk. So who knows what he sees?
So he either needs glasses or to lay off the drink, is what Agnes is thinking.
Yeah, I don't know what's in that alcohol.
Yeah, what's the bottle of wine with a 2-shot absinthe chaser, right?
Yeah, yeah. Could be eating some of the local flora that may or may not cause you to see things.
But he as he's talking about this, you hear footsteps coming down the stairs, and he stands up briskly. And after a moment, a woman will come around through the hall and stand in the door of the library. She's currently dressed in a very simple dressing gown with a heavy robe over it. She looks like she hasn't slept. But despite that, she has a bit of a poise. And she just looks at Ismark without a word, and he immediately speaks. These investigators have come into town, and they've agreed to stay with us tonight to provide security for Father. And I believe, he looks at Luis, agreed to help see him safely to the graveyard in the morning?
Yes, of course.
Unless we intend to take him tonight, which we could.
Given what you have said thus far, it seems like the morning may be a better choice.
I was gonna say, is it easier in the morning? Do they relent?
The attacks only come after after we would call nightfall.
Oh, okay.
Though it is rare that the sun shines through the heavy clouds that cover this valley.
But daytime, quote unquote.
As near as we can tell, yes.
Okay.
The woman kind of takes a moment. How do you know you can trust them, brother? And she kind of looks over at all of you. Please, I mean no offense, but...
I'll respond with, how do we know we can trust you?
I'll chime in with, why would we want your father's dead corpse?
I would also respond, this trust is good. Keeps you alive.
We're just having a chat going down the road.
Down the line.
Oh, Mr. Charismatic's got nothing to say. Come on now.
Not touching this one over the 10-foot pole, ladies. This is all yours.
What about a 39.5-foot pole?
I didn't take that spell either.
Okay.
Well, you are in our house. We've taken you in. She kind of glances at Ismark as she takes a step back into the hallway. Miss Insightful, roll me a perception check.
Okie dokie. Perception, you said?
Yes, please.
Okie doke.
No reason not to let you use your brand new shiny abilities.
Also, is there supposed to be a map?
That make her be Mrs. Perceptive.
Am I like?
No, that's wisdom, not Bree. That's wisdom, not book smarts.
And no, there's nothing loaded on the map yet.
Okay, I was gonna say
Yeah.
I'm looking at a blank screen.
You are looking at a blank screen because I'm not expecting combat yet. And I don't want to put the combat map up until you're in it, because I don't want you to know what that combat is until you're in it.
That's fair.
I
That's
like my
fair, but also
surprises.
concerning.
But fear not, there is a combat map ready for tonight, courtesy Dungeon Alchemist. Only $49.99 on Steam, and the best freaking money I have ever spent on D&D.
It's $50.
Yeah, but trust
One
me.
time?
One time.
Oh, okay.
And I have spent more than $50 on having other people make maps for me, which are not as good.
Yeah.
So,
I
also,
feel like I've been seeing ads for Dungeon Alchemist, so it's good.
it is amazing, and
it
they
was
should pay
like-
me to say this.
It was
Filing that
out
away.
on TikTok before it came out when it was still in like beta or whatever. But
Yeah,
I was just
Sponsorship
like,
opportunities are at Lantern Noir on Twitter.
Or lanternnoir@gmail.com.
I didn't know your email.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sponsor, please.
yes. Sponsor me, please.
All right, filing
Also-
that away. That's good to know.
If you have a distillery in Lynchburg, you may also sponsor me. So, on that note, yeah, she doesn't see anything out of the ordinary. But Irina does step back into the hallway. What are your... And she pauses. How do we know that you're not... How do we know that you're not minions of that beast in the castle?
because we don't even know why. What? Okay. Why? That's not like she's just gonna end it with why. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Why?
Beast, I thought
why?
there was a lord in the castle. Is he also the beasts in the castle too?
What is Mark speaks of? What my sister means is, how is she to know that you are not already loyal subjects of Lord von Zarovich?
If we were loyal subjects, we're some pretty stupid loyal subjects because I have no idea who that is.
What my
I
friend
agree.
means to say is that we are new to this valley and we're unaware that it even had a lord until you mentioned it just now. We literally were in a plane crash yesterday and wandered into this valley unprepared for its unique governmental structure and current unfortunate events.
We're also very injured. It'd be very stupid of us to go into the enemy territory whilst at a disadvantage.
Yes, we're not exactly primed for battle at the moment.
That's when Rob
Or
throws the monster at us.
Ever from that perspective.
Hmm.
Rob's like, surprise!
Well,
there was
speak
one
for
behind
yourself.
you the entire time.
No, the real surprise is the monster has always been you.
Dun dun dun!
Anyway.
Tell me something I don't know.
Okay.
But the real monsters were the friends we made along the way.
Okay, so she does have a moment to consider that. And she actually looks over her shoulders past the coffin, as though she's looking out a window that's boarded over. Yep. A plane crash, you said?
Yes.
Seems that As little as I know of such things, the flying machine seems to struggle in this region.
That
Are
would
you
explain
saying,
things.
you saying
Mhm.
that there have been a lot of plane crashes
No,
recently?
but the one that arrived last year did not crash, but the pilot did report before he went down into the village that he had been having mechanical difficulties.
And
Would
there
explain
was us.
the landing issues.
Yes,
Luckily, his plane did not explode.
true, especially with its
Yes.
proximity to the house.
Ours
Yes.
did.
Do they explode? Is that a common
Yes.
thing?
Yes.
Quite.
They
quite,
they do, unfortunately.
Yes.
Oh,
Took all our stuff with it.
I,
Well,
I had one more. I had more than one change of clothes. It was nicer then.
As did I.
she takes a second to kind of look over each of you again. And you swear you are in no way in league. Look at me and say it. I can trust
I
you.
swear, I am in no way in league with Lord Zara Zan. What was his name again?
Zarovich, maybe?
She sighs with a certain resignation and frustration. Strad von Zarovich, you insist you don't know the name.
Rod von Zarovich. No, never heard of him.
I do not know the name.
sounds
Neither
like
do
a
I.
boo-boo.
She relaxes, and you hear the sound of metal against wood as she brings her hand back for where she was reaching off into the hallway.
Oh, okay.
June would have told you what she was doing if she'd been able to spot it, but June was too busy looking at a book.
Yeah, I want to see what these titles are.
The Art of Embalming, first edition. Wow, in the original
Ooh.
Egyptian.
I can read that.
And you didn't think that skill was going to come into handy.
Not here.
But she, Irina comes into the room. I do appreciate you being here. And she looks over at the coffin. It was hard enough for Ismark and I to simply even make the coffin for him. To not be able to take him to lay in the churchyard has been both on a practical level painful and an emotional one.
We're very sorry for your loss.
Read. I too know what it's like to lose a father.
Thank you. Can we get you anything? Ismark, have they had something to eat? He looks at her and goes, "Oh." Looks at you. Do you need something to eat?
That would be
That would be
appreciated.
much
Be
appreciated.
I think I can find something in the kitchens. And he gets up and he shuffles off. Irina will come in and sit down on one of the chairs with you, and as she does, she still moves with that same grace that almost seems out of place given the fact that she's in a barricaded house.
Perhaps you can tell us a bit more about these attacks. We'd like to know what we're getting into.
Well, since coming of age, the Lord of the Manor has taken a particular interest in me. And Father insisted he should not. And I, quite truthfully, have no interest in a man who oppresses his people as the Lord does, or one that seems so overversed, if you will, in knowledge of dark arts. And for the most part, my youth was quiet down here. But Lord von Zarovich began to appear with regularity at any event he might. And then he insisted on courting me. And I have no interest. Then the attack started.
So his alternative to not taking you as his wife is to attack you and your family. Is
He,
that what
ins-
I'm?
he insisted through his messages that the attacks would end when I joined him in the Ravenloft so that the courtship could be begun appropriately. I had no interest. I said so repeatedly.
As well, you should.
Sounds like someone needs to die. Not you. And just to clarify, just in case you.
He has ruled over this valley for generations. He is
Say what?
not versed in taking no for an answer.
Generations.
How far away is his estate?
The castle? You'll be able to see it in the morning when the sun comes up.
Oh, that close.
It's well above us, up on the cliffs. It's quite a fortress. Yes, that's not Hogwarts behind OuterDork. That's the Ravenloft.
I couldn't help myself.
That's not Hogwarts.
Your brother mentioned wolves. What would we expect during one of these attacks?
Oh, we are unlikely to actually have one tonight. They haven't attacked since Father passed. It was almost like the attacks were to wear him down.
In any event, there might be something else coming. I'm just gonna look at the others.
I need all four of you to roll me up an insight check, please.
Oh boy.
One of
I am-
my many
I am not
strengths.
giving you this one for free. I want one of you to roll a decent die for me. Why
Is
is
22 decent enough?
Fudge nuts.
Crimines?
It's making up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't see her reaching for a sword to gut you all with, so you can see something else.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm not sure you're the one that wants to notice this, but with those rolls, you're the only one that does.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, here we go.
Getting them out of our systems.
Mm-hmm.
I rolled a 14. I'm just bad at this.
I rolled a 4.
I rolled a 6.
I don't know about you, but I rolled a 22.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. That always pops into my head when I hear that number.
It's okay. It's the same way when I roll a 20 or get a 21. I'm like, 21?
Mm,
You
okay.
she makes the comment that the attack had been dedicated to breaking down her father's resolve with perhaps hope that without his influence I might change my mind. I intend not to, of course.
Any good father knows they can't control their daughter when she has her mind set on something.
My father would never want me to become a consort of Lord von Zarovich. He wanted our family to have no part of it. I think if it had not been the tradition of being the Burgomaster of Barovia, we would have found some other hamlet to be.
Your father sounds like he was a good man.
Mm-hmm. And a good father.
Thank you for saying that. It's very kind. And on that, Ismark will shuffle back in with a wooden tray. He has some questionable fruits laid out in a bowl and a pitcher with several pewter goblets on it. The food is old. It's not rotted, but it's not fresh. There's also
Ale-ish.
there's some chopped carrots, some look like maybe potatoes, and some with some kind of a dusting of peppers. But it looks edible.
Yay, food.
I don't think we've eaten in the past like couple days, so it's
Yeah, I don't
food
know if
is
we'll
food.
even notice at this point.
Especially considering we've been gutted in that, or at least I've been gutted in that time.
The time it took you to describe how unappetizing the food looks, it's just been devoured.
Right, we're already eating.
Probably. We've already eaten it by now. We
We've
just
eaten
don't
it
look. We
faster
just
than it
eat.
took you to describe it.
Yeah.
Right.
No time to observe, just time to
So at what point do you want me to ask for those con checks?
whatever
now
you
is
want.
now is fine.
Yeah, whatever.
But he
Check or save.
Yeah, which one?
you're fine. You're fine.
Oh,
I mean, it's edible. It's just it's not great, and it does look like they have not had access to fresh food in a while in here. And Ismark does apologize repeatedly that the food is not fresher and that they've been without an actual staff for several weeks. It's been very difficult to recruit people, to hire them to come up to the house, especially once the attack started. Irina will actually make the comment that after she had come of age, most of their staff quit. Within days of Strahd's first appearance to court her, people began finding other employments, other opportunities to see after their needs.
that's horribly rude of them.
I can't really blame them. One does not cross the Dark Lord of the Valley lightly.
Most people learn to look after their own interests if they want to survive.
But clearly you were hungry. Do you need rest? We can put you in some of the rooms.
That would be appreciated.
Yes, we would.
I think we can all
definitely
benefit
appreciate
from
that
a rest.
opportunity.
Very well. I think I will go up and Ismark will show you to some rooms for you. And the plan then is in the morning, we will convey Father to the churchyard.
Yes.
Yep.
Most excellent. She excuses herself and Ismark will stand as she leaves and bow his head as she makes her way out and up the stairs. He almost there's a moment where once you hear the footsteps around the corner at the top of the stairs, where his body just kind of takes a moment to relax slightly. Yes, we do have some guest rooms available. If you would like to join me and follow me this way. Unfortunately, we have but the one guest room. Would any of you be willing to accept Father's room for the evening?
No, I'll sleep on the floor.
I can take care of that, and then we'll let the ladies have the guest room.
Excellent. I hope that's not too strange.
Under the circumstances, it's
Well, it's that or the
understandable.
servants' quarter. There are some bunks down below, but I would feel so terribly rude asking you to stay there.
This should be fine.
Excellent. He shows you up the stairs. As you come up, you see there are several cutouts framed in black paper of profiles. And they have very, very tightly written calligraphy under each of them with a name and a date. Going back, as you kind of look at the collection, the earliest is dated as 1790.
Wow.
Investigator,
Yes.
roll me an insight check.
Yes.
Insight.
Look at your face.
You're making me roll the wisdom, not the intelligence.
Insight.
But what does a
based on-
15 get me?
Isn't insight based on intelligence?
Wisdom.
Oh,
Investigation
Investigation
Ah,
is
is
intelligence.
intelligence.
yes, but investigation requires active stuff. You have to do stuff to investigate.
Yeah.
Fair enough. 15. Okay. Let's see here. 21 now. So if we go back, so I can't type.
Okay, OuterDork, I have that song now stuck in my head and just that line.
I know,
All
me too.
I know.
You're
And I'm
welcome.
really annoyed about it.
Yeah, so this is the part too where it's like, oh, quickly, gotta write a note, slide across the table. He leads down the hall. At the end of the hall are a pair of large doors that he gestures Luis to, and says, "This would be where you might stay then." Ladies, I believe this is our guest suite. I hope it was accommodating to you. And he points immediately to a door just off the stair.
I'm sure it will do very nicely, thank you. And I'll head that way.
And he holds the door open for you, and it's a nice room. There's a large bed and a pair of smaller beds set up with a nightstand next to each of them. There's a wash basin up against the wall with unfortunately a dirty mirror that's leaning at the wrong angle over it. The room has not been used for some time, nor has it been taken care of by anyone for an equal amount. The master bedroom also shows significant lack of maintenance. Like the rest of the house, the windows are covered over with boards, and you actually see a chest of tools sitting next to them, and spare boards leaning up in the corner, ready to be attached if needed.
Noted.
Is there any water in the wash basin?
There is a pitcher,
Okay.
and Ismar, as soon as you notice it, Ismark will actually, like, his eyes will catch yours. Oh, yes, water. I'm on that. Thank you. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I just and she's gonna put her hand on like her probably not bleeding anymore. Gouge wound. Just want to get this cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah, I have one of those too, I believe.
I believe. Not
Side
sure.
eyes,
I don't
side eyes,
remember.
Agnes.
Of course, yes. Do you require anything else? I don't think we have any morphine left in the house, but we might. I could possibly find some.
I've grown used to the pain by now. It's been a while since this happened.
Let me fetch the water.
I got this wound, so.
That plane crash must have been terrible. And then he's down the stairs.
Yes, the plane crash.
Yes, the plane crash was the hard part.
As none of you
Yes,
have
so we-
mentioned the haunted house yet.
It doesn't
Definitely,
really
yes.
seem like relevant discussion at the
Well, I
moment.
was just wondering,
Yeah, these
hang
ones-
on. I was just wondering if we should have mentioned the letter we found.
Yeah.
The one that said, "Don't come here, for the love of God, go
Or
away."
tell people not to come here. I kind of wonder if that was an important message they should have received.
I believe it was signed by the deceased. If I have pieced
Yes.
together
I
the
believe so
situation
too.
appropriately. So
I'm
we
just
could tell
wondering
them that the message did not make it, but you know,
Well, yeah, that's what I meant. Like, should they know that the message didn't get out? I don't know.
probably at some point. But you know,
Who has the letter? Was somebody holding
Uh,
on to it?
I do because I'm the one who found it. Because y'all are
Okay.
afraid of dead bodies.
Yes. I say shamelessly.
Which is beautiful as you walk into a campaign designed around zombies and vampires. This gonna be fun.
Eee.
Very fun.
Yeah, it's
Well, I
in
mean,
my handy haversack.
Very rarely do people start an adventure with a fondness for corpses.
Fair.
Batman?
That comes later.
Fair. Fair.
Agnes kind
I
of.
was gonna say certain present company
Oh,
excluded,
come on.
Yeah.
and
I
she's
mean-
gone.
Just the camera. It's fine. I'm back. Yeah, Agnes kind of has a fondness for corpses.
No.
I am not
Not in
changing
that-
this
not
title
in
to be
whatever way
18
you're
plus,
thinking.
folks. Not doing that. There are lines I'm not crossing.
Not that kind
is
of
No.
one them.
fondness.
She's
Okay.
comfortable with them.
So not helping. Not
The-
helping.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop now. Stop it, camera.
You just can't
Even
win
the
for losing
camera's
tonight.
embarrassed.
No, I don't know why it's being so sensitive today.
So Does anyone have any? Ismark will bring back 2 pitchers of water. He'll leave one in your room, and he'll ask if there's anything else you need before you bed down for the night.
Do you have a clean rag or something?
Oh, yes, you'll find them. And he points at the cupboards underneath the wash basin.
Thank you. And I'm gonna grab one.
I think we're settled then.
Mm-hmm.
You said you didn't expect to need any assistance during the night?
We shouldn't. The attacks haven't come since Father's passing. As Irina said,
Right.
we believe that the effort was to remove his presence from her mind.
Well, then I suppose we'll see you in the morning.
Yes, good evening. And he'll pull the door shut. And you have a chance to bed down and take a long rest.
Yay!
Welcome to level 3.
Yay.
Level 3.
Yay!
Ideally, you'll be at level 10 by the time we're finished.
Yay.
Yay!
Not necessarily these characters, whichever ones you actually see through to the end.
Caveat.
Important caveat.
I want to see how long I can take Agnes being the skeptic.
Oh,
I want to see how long I can make this run.
As Techie, we appreciate that kind of inquisitive nature and hard-hitting reporting you're doing there. Coca-Cola ingredients in 1900 and paper towels to be able to win. Paper towels, I want to say, God, that's got to be like a 50s thing.
Yeah. Sliced bread, I think, was invented in the 50s.
Oh, I think sliced bread goes back a little earlier than that. I think. I don't know. When was the toaster invented? The electric toaster. The electric toaster.
The electric toaster, yeah.
Yes, because that's when you had to have your bread the right sizes to fit into the electric toasters.
Yeah.
Whenever they became standardized, somewhat accidentally. We're off topic. You all have the
never
chance
happened
to
before.
get some sleep and to bed down. One of you is having a hard time sleeping, however. It's not so
3
much.
guesses who.
I'm kind of curious who you think it is. I haven't said yet.
I'm thinking the one in the dead man's room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cute that you think that.
We're gonna pick on the one that is in a room by himself, okay?
It's not necessarily the bed. You've slept on cots before, and and you've slept in tents. You've slept on shifting sand. You slept at sea. But something is making it very hard for Agnes to settle. And then she hears the voice. Miss
Hey.
Devereaux. Miss Devereaux, please, just a moment of your time.
Do I know this voice?
You don't know it.
Okay.
You don't recognize it. But it's coming from the window.
Agnes is going to ignore it. For now.
Just a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just a dream.
It's been a crazy night. I just ate some weird food. I'm probably something from that. Got injured.
Miss Devereaux, if you just come to the balcony a moment.
Nope.
I need simply to speak with you. It'll be most brief. There's a light, almost like knuckles wrapping gently against the wood. As you roll over to glance in that direction, you can actually see spaces where the boards are not completely blocked out the window, and there's a gentleman standing on the balcony. Just a
All
moment
right,
of your time, please.
And she's gonna wake up, darling.
What? Hello? What? What's up?
Did you hear anything?
Just the sound of my own snoring until you woke me up. Oh, what's that? Why? Are we seeing things again?
I think so. I
Where?
don't know what was in that food.
I
I swear there was someone on the. I swear there was someone on the balcony.
She'll get up and go peek out on the balcony.
So a couple things happen as you cross over to that.
Uh-oh.
First thing, as you notice that this window is, unlike the other windows in the house, not well barricaded.
Oh.
It looks more like it was like several boards were thrown against it, but now that you've had a chance to inspect it, you can see wide gaps where the wood does not fully cover it, letting you look out into the darkness.
Sloppy.
Second thing you notice, there is no balcony.
What? What do you mean there's no balcony?
There's no balcony.
It's just it's just a window?
That's just a window. But there's no balcony under the window.
And is there anyone at the window?
No.
Okay.
Agnes, there's nobody there. There's no balcony. What are you talking about?
I swear I heard someone saying, "Come out to the balcony."
Did you look out if there was a balcony? Maybe.
No, I didn't even go near the window. My goodness.
Maybe you were dreaming.
Ugh. It's hard to sleep in this house, honestly. This thing is just makes it uncomfortable. Makes it hard to get comfortable.
That's fair.
Anyway, sorry for waking you. You go get some more rest.
Already on it. Just lays back down and
There's a few moments where Darlene starts to... You hear that recognizable heavy snore of exhaustion, but sleep is still eluding you. And then you hear that rap knock against the wood again. You don't need to wake anyone. If you'll just come to the window a moment, I can fully explain the circumstances in which you find yourself, and you can put this whole nightmare behind you. There is, after all, a logical explanation for everything, isn't there?
Oh, I don't like him.
He said the magic words.
Yes, there's a logical explanation to you being outside a window with no balcony knocking on wood.
Just come here a moment and I'll explain it to you. It's very simple. You'll see it for yourself. Simple science, I believe they say.
Okay, yeah. Agnes is going to look over at Darling and look over at Miss St.
Grandma,
Clair.
that's my pinwheel.
Miss St. Clair. Make sure see if she's noticed anything or if she's asleep.
Have they been loud enough that I would have heard looking up, or am I still out?
You are still out.
I'm out cold,
You are out cold.
but very daintily so.
Uh-huh.
Agnes is gonna cautiously walk over to the window, but she's going to give me one sec. Yeah, have one of her daggers out because it's been a weird couple days.
What's everybody's total HP?
I don't like that you're asking that.
Okay.
That's never a good sign.
Oh, I'm just making sure of a couple little factoids from the game mechanics.
Listen, I have a weirdo dude at the second story window telling me there's a balcony when there's not.
You get up enough that you can see the figure. He's dressed in incredibly fine tailored suit. Almost a tuxedo, the way the cut of the jacket is, but there's something that strikes you as off, as it's also apparently incredibly dated. It almost looks like a Regency style cut to it, or perhaps even older. And you can actually see his fingers on the board as he's looking in towards you, and most motions you to come just a step closer.
I'll take like half a step forward. I'm like, this is as far as I'm going.
That's plenty far enough. For now, I can see your eyes quite clearly.
Oh,
And you're gonna roll me.
Oh, damn. God damn it.
I knew it. I knew it. I was so ready. Okay. What am I rolling?
You are gonna roll me a wisdom save.
Yay.
I'm going to
Fail.
write that down. It's quite natural for him to be out there, but it seems quite rude for him not to be allowed in the house.
Oh.
He simply glances in and says, I think I needed time to speak with Miss Irina. Would you be so kind as to go downstairs and invite me in?
Oh my fuck.
And without
Ah.
a second thought, that makes the utmost sense. There's no reason he should be standing out there on that balcony in the cold.
Yes, he
And-
seems like a perfect gentleman. Finally, someone with some class.
The
Happens
door
when
opens,
You don't stay up with.
and you have a chance to see his skin is almost bone white. It has to be a trick of the light. It has to be the moonlight, right? If there was a moon.
Oh yeah, 100%. In
His
the
hair-
sunlight, he would sparkle.
It's perfect.
And, oh my
Okay.
god, stop.
Okay,
Stop.
we are going to be going
Susan
into a BRB. We have now hit a red flag.
And she
My
got
camera
noticed.
canceled me.
Yes, even your camera is not cool with sparkling vampires.
Oh man.
Oh,
That's
I will say
hilarious.
I am not sorry.
his hair is perfectly coiffed. The jacket and coat scream of money. And you open the door to him. He bows.
Cash money.
And please invite me in. And you do so without a second thought. Please come in. And he steps on the threshold. And he actually sets his hand across the top of your head and strokes your hair a moment. Thank you so kindly. You should go back to bed now. And that makes the most sense. And you walk up the stairs and you
Look what you did.
lay down in bed. And in a second, you're out.
At least I got some sleep.
Look what you did.
I got sleep is what I got.
You got her kidnapped.
I got me some sleep, okay?
You probably also got her the R word, and I'm not gonna say it on stream.
Mm-hmm. He seemed like a gentleman.
Whatever. Marry me or I'll
a
attack your
nice
house until
soul.
your dad dies.
It's okay. He touched my hair, therefore he is bad.
He touched my hair.
You don't mess with my hair.
Right.
Moving on.
So, morning comes. You each wake from a somewhat restful sleep, as it were. This is probably the first time you've been in real beds since you left Amsterdam. So that was new. You have a chance to wash up in something that's dedicated for washing up and take stock of yourselves in actual mirrors. And you don't look bad, per se. But
Per se.
I've looked worse.
you have looked worse.
There's no sand.
When you make your way down to the stairs, there's a dining room behind the sitting room, and there are water's been put out. Ismark actually has an apron tied about his waist, and he's trying to make some kind of a concoction with flour and water. And he swears he's seen it done 100 times. And you politely avoid referring to it as hardtack, but that would be the best word to describe it.
Oh dear.
But the effort is there.
So well done, bruschetta.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he does eventually, so you have a chance to kind of gather your things and prepare. Irina comes down sometime later looking shaken. But she does make an appearance.
Do I remember anything that happened last night?
Yes. You may do whatever you want with that knowledge. But yes, you absolutely do remember a very kind gentleman who met you on the balcony. He needed to be invited in. It made complete sense. You did. And then, at his suggestion, you went back to bed. You are free to say whatever you want. But Irina will take a moment to get some hot water and pour herself a cup of tea and kind of just put her back up against one of the walls of the kitchen and quietly sip it.
Well, we
I'm
seem
gonna
to
look
have had a very
to,
peaceful night.
I'm going to look to Irina and Ismark and ask, is the gentleman from last night not joining us?
If Irina could pale more, she would. And everyone, no insight checks needed. Her body goes tight when that question gets pitched.
What? Oh, are you talking about the guy that was not there on the non-existent balcony that you woke me up about?
He was on the balcony.
There was no balcony.
You must have been seeing things. Of course there was a balcony. How else could he have been
There was
knocking on the window?
You even agreed that there was no balcony.
But there was a balcony.
Oh my god. I don't.
And he was rather kind.
I don't. What am I going to do with you?
Ismark will turn up from where he's pulling something out of the oven, which he did manage to get going this morning. And he kind of looks. I'm sorry, gentlemen.
I don't
Yes, there was a
remember any
rather-
gentleman.
Yes, there was a rather...
Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, there was a rather polite gentleman at the balcony.
His eyes dart across to Irina, who is pointedly not looking at anything but her boots.
And he was dressed rather smartly, honestly. Considering how old the garment seemed to be, it was well taken care of. But he was a rather kind gentleman. And I invited him.
As second you say that, like, I invited him in, crash. And Ismark just goes down.
What you did?
Like,
What you did
passes
again?
out?
Yeah.
Or...
He
Well,
has
that's a strange reaction.
There's a moment of just horror overcomes his face, and then his eyes roll back, and down he goes.
I'm gonna run over and look for a pulse or like something.
He has a pulse. He's just out.
Okay.
So Agnes,
Yes.
just to make sure I understand,
Yes.
the house we're staying at, which has been regularly attacked, and we were informed that the lord of this land had unwanted and untoward designs upon the lady of the house.
You let a stranger in the house.
And last night, you were approached on the second floor by a very well-dressed man who asked you explicitly to invite him into the home, which you did.
Of course, it was the polite thing to do.
In a stranger's home.
It's cold outside.
I'm about to slap the shit out of you.
What do they teach these girls in England? I mean,
That if one has a guest, you must invite them in.
He was not a guest.
yes, in America we make sure we know our guests before we invite them in. I'm gonna look at Irina and say, and how was your evening, dear?
Two guesses based off of that face.
Everything all right?
There's a moment when she starts to say something, and you watch as the saucer and cup in her hand just begin to shake. And as they kind of slip out of her fingers, they tumble onto the cobblestone floor of the kitchen and shatter. And in the time it takes for you to watch it fall, you see the flurry of her jacket as she turns and just books it out of the kitchen.
I'm gonna bolt after her.
That's an odd reaction.
Not did that. You don't
He was such a kind gentleman.
eat your breakfast slush.
Arcana check to try to guess what might have happened to our usually more level-headed dear Agnes.
Sure. See how on top of things Louis is.
Luis is a 12.
Louise has enough background in arcane arts, since you are proficient in arcana. There are different ways which dark entities, elder gods, sometimes those channeling their powers, are able to make people do things against their will by coming off as incredibly lovable.
Bit of mesmerism.
Yeah, mesmerism sounds like the right word.
Charmed. It is the 20s.
It is the 20s. So yeah,
Charmed, I'm sure.
Charmed, I'm sure.
That's a series I never got into, and I kind of wish I had.
Oh,
But, so Agnes comes booking around the couple of the quick corners into the sitting room, and catches as Irina throws open the door to go out into the yard, possibly
Wait,
to get
Agnes
fresh
or
air.
me?
I'm sorry, Irina.
Oh, Irina. Okay.
And Agnes chases Irina literally out the front door as she pulls it open.
Still not Agnes.
I'm sorry,
Amelie?
Amelie.
Okay. I
We got
figured.
there.
I just
Let me
wanted
back
to-
up and start that whole thing over again. If that's okay with you, I'm going to do that from the top. I mean,
Take it from the top.
I blame Wally. He screwed up my cue cards.
Reset it. Reset, redo.
So Amelie takes off after Irina. Irina turns a couple of corners and literally runs to the front door, pulls it open, and goes out, presumably to get some fresh air, and then just stops and just drops to her knees on the front walk. Amelie comes up behind her, and standing in front of the house is a mahogany wood hearse with two black horses hitched to the front of it, standing directly at the end of the walkway at the gate. There is no driver, no indication of who sent for it. And that is the note on which we will take our first break of the night.
Ah!
So for everyone that's hanging out, we're going to take a quick 5. We're going to do a quick stretch, top off our waters or our whiskeys as necessary. If you are a subscriber, you're going to go straight to some clips of the channel. If you are not, you will have an opportunity to watch a couple of quick ads to help pay the bills around here. I'd also encourage you, if you haven't, click that link in the chat. It'll take you to Stream Loot so you can get some cards. You're going to want to have some for later because things going to get interesting. And you are welcome to mess with this party as much as you like using those cards. You get 3 for free. Check them out, see what you get. We will see you all back here in about 5 minutes. We'll see you in a few.
But there's a way to check if you really want to know. I'm intrigued. Cut your hand. Bleed in front of her.
Got it.
I mean, but if she's
I didn't think I'd do it. I so did it. Smell it.
but like she could not necessarily
So
be
pause
a
is right there.
vampire.
Well, you're
She'd be
saying
like,
that she is a vampire, so
or she's like possessed by one, or like
Cutting her hand open.
or like the
in the middle
leader.
of Strahd's domain.
Wait, her
Sounds
hand
like
or my
not
hand? I
hers,
just cut
not
my hand
hers,
open.
not hers.
Sounds like a
James.
fantastic idea. Oh.
I didn't have to cut my hand open. We need to cut her hand open.
Oh.
No.
Come here, girl. Come on.
no, you
I'm
mean to
already
say-
bleeding.
James just like waving his bloody hand in
Like, come
Irina's
on.
face.
Maybe re-roll.
Yeah, re-roll it. Re-roll it. The birds
Yeah,
are
yeah,
important.
yeah.
Everyone's
We
in on
screwed
the
these-
reroll.
I screwed these birds up earlier. We need
Come
a
on.
high roll.
We got this.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Oh no. Oh my.
So
Every time, I'm the bard that
Amazing.
does not want to be a. I'm really bad at being a bard.
That is amazing.
Worst bard ever.
Yikes.
Yes.
The good news is, after this adventure, you can start taking levels of anything else.
Anything else? Okay.
Sorry.
The one that's between Chrysanthemum and her bottle.
Yes. Yes.
That's a dangerous place to be for many reasons.
Punch the. No, I know that's a bad idea.
There is so much nope surrounding this trap. I am not here for an amulet. I am here for a traumatized rogue. Let's get the fuck out of here. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's 2.
Well, I wasn't really concerned about the amulet. I just thought that
Way.
yeah, that's kind of where I'm going. Like, do we think it's going to follow us?
Yeah,
I'm sure it will.
Run it? Yeah, I was gonna say, can we outrun it, or is it like something that's just gonna follow us no matter where we go?
I don't think we can outrun it. I mean, it's not going to come any closer for a bit.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're gonna have to fight
Well,
it.
we could take shelter in the smoldering ruins, right? Because
I don't know if that's gonna help.
We
It's probably
don't know what's in the smoldering ruins.
Well, it couldn't be any worse than this.
We could
Oh,
come
yes,
across-
it could!
We could come across like another giant creature, and then we're fighting 2 at the same time. And then
But
it's
it
terrible.
could be like Godzilla versus King Kong. So if we run into something even nastier, maybe it won't want to eat us. It'll go after the other thing because they're legends and they have to fight. That's how that works.
No, or they team up against us.
You've had a very fortunate life, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we assume this guy is bad.
Oh, he's super bad.
Well, you know.
Okay. That's all I needed to know.
Good.
I mean, he keeps on trying
have-
to. He's a dick. He keeps on trying to coerce Irina into coming up to his castle and fucking die, become a vampire lady, and she's not into it.
Well, I mean, you know, okay.
I feel like we should not be meddling anyway. If there's someone killing someone else, it might be for a good reason. You don't know.
Oh my. That got dark. Wow.
We have killed lots of people.
For various and sometimes no good reason. Yeah, she's not wrong. Oh, good lord, we're murder
I'm not
hobos.
one to judge, okay?
Am I to conclude the party is going to enter into the house?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we have playbills nearby?
Sure.
Playbills are made of paper, right? And that's
yeah.
made of wood. Can I use shillelagh with a playbill? Is this technically made of the same stuff I would need, right?
What pulp?
I'll allow it.
All right.
As you seem to be doing really well with it.
Ooh, nat 20 to 25.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
Nice. Scattered it.
Wow. Well, you can roll your damage. I don't.
25. Because I got 3 6s.
Holy cow.
Oh my goodness.
She just hulked out. Rage hard.
Yeah, I think you should rage all the time. I think you
I
should
like this
never
rage,
not
yeah.
never
This
not be
is
raging.
it. Well,
There's
we get
where all our
2.
good rolls were hiding.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's why they were so bad earlier. We were saving up. But... Stop hitting my friends.
Oop, wrong way.
Damage books with that kind of attitude.
Well played. Wow.
Special and like not forced or anything. It's brilliant. I think the quote I have in particular is actually came from chat, which was the spell slide into DMs, which then became a spell. That's just it's very endearing. So I love it.
I'm going to follow that up by saying that the reaction to receiving a message spell was an absolute, just as far as role play goes.
I'm heading that way. I'll tackle her
Oh, she
ass
already has
again.
the potion. She already has the potion.
No, she just handed you the book, and as soon as your hands touched it, she let go and run.
She's not going to take the potion?
She's got bigger fish to fry, like getting her ass out of there. You shot her.
I'm trying to unshoot her to the best of my abilities.
It seemed like a good idea at the time.
I'm gonna go. Common, Mother Clucker, do you speak it?
We need some information. I'm not sorry, by the way.
Go ahead and roll me a performance check. Maybe the dice are going to favor you at the moment.
Also, are
Can't
we
be an
can we-
intimidation? I can't like intimidate the rhyme
No.
with my music. Okay.
No.
Well,
Can
I
we
thought I would
do-
try.
Specialize in intimidation music.
Or I
though.
can't persuade them to not sing with my music. Okay.
What's up,
Can
Molly?
Can we do anything when we're singing, or is that like it takes up our whole action?
Oh, it doesn't.
Come on.
It doesn't. Oh, good lord. Yeah,
Finally.
I'm over here
I
trying.
finally can bard.
Da-
For just let me bard. I never get to bard. I'm always doing failing rolls when it comes to bard skills.
The bard
This
is
the
being
first
a
time.
bard.
You're barding when it's most important.
It's about time.
MVP.
Sweden is my lucky country.
No
All right.
kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Boy, that sucks. Like, I feel bad for him. Okay.
I've never seen this before.
Unspeakable brutality.
Yeah, a little closer. Go to the right. Oh no, I dropped down. Oh no, I'm under us.
I think they're sinking.
Yeah, there's
Okay, drop the anchor so we can collect our stuff. You're swinging again.
Oh man,
Oh,
this
this
guy.
guy's tough.
What's up with this guy?
He's
What? What? This doesn't happen. This doesn't happen. All right, we're going. Let's go.
Okay.
And followed by the smite. Come on, Timber. We got this.
I mean, if he doesn't go down now, I don't know.
And
but
he
maybe.
finally drops.
Yes.
And is out of the scrap. Gets to the guy in the.
Oh no, that whole love interest thing. That's right. Oh, I forgot. I almost killed him.
And that is that weird, sickly smell in the air.
Oh God.
Something like rotting meat.
Ew.
As we're walking, I'm like starting to like shake it off, and I'm just gonna say under my breath, she's just mad her mom never wanted her home for holidays either.
Wow, that's some Gossip Girl shit. Like,
Wow.
Anybody else smell that?
Smells like salt.
Smells like
Not-
tea to me.
Not what I meant.
Alright, if you didn't know that was one of our clips, that's going in there.
Oh, dearie me.
Like, why am I here?
I legit.
There we go.
Okay, and we're back. We are going to be, we're picking up where we left off. Irina has come out of the house to find a hearse waiting with horses at the end of the walk leading out of the Burgomaster's mansion. She just collapses on the ground when she sees it. And Amelie is right coming up behind her. So, Arwen, what's going on?
Seeing her reaction and the stuff in the yard, I'm gonna do like a scan back and forth for danger as I like. My plan is to go toward her, like grab onto her shoulders and just kind of gently, like, get her up and pull her back towards the house while I'm like glancing side to side, looking out for danger.
As you look around, you don't see anything that catches your eye as a potential threat right off the bat. What you do, however, notice is that you start to see more faces and windows around the town near you. When you came through here last evening, there were no lights in the windows, no sign of life, but now you're starting to see, just kind of from the way the house is set to overlook the village, you can see in the windows people moving and looking out at you. And it's almost like as you kind of scan across, as your vision passes over a window, the person in it takes a step back and either a shutter closes or a curtain drops or the room just goes dark.
All right. As I'm trying to get her like up and back towards the house, I'm also gonna call for Darling.
What? Where are we going? What are we doing?
I could use a hand out here.
Oh. So she's just like collapsed on the ground.
She was. She'll stand up with assistance.
Can you keep an eye out for me? I basically
okay.
just want like somebody else there in case something happened. My spidey sense is tingling.
Darling comes to the door, and you see, as described, a hearse is parked with its 2 horses at the end of the walk.
Oh.
Not just parked, but like so that you could literally carry the casket down and go right up. Just turn that corner and throw it in the back. You don't even have to move the hearse at this point.
Move the horse.
Move the hearse. You don't even have to move the hearse into a better position. You just load it. And yes, there are no drivers there.
Right. So
let's get her back in the house.
Yeah. I'm gonna just go over and take the lady, and I'm gonna just scoop her up in fireman. Cool. Fireman carry? No, bridal style carry.
Yeah, she'll let you do that. Although when you cross into the house, there is a moment where it becomes very clear that she's comfortable being put down.
I will put her back down.
I'm gonna shut the door, and if there's a lock, or some kind of locking mechanism, I'll lock it and just kind of like
Slam.
Keep an eye out the front window.
That would be cool if you could see out the window. Remember, they're boarded over.
Oh, that's right. Well,
You're
I'm
in a
looking
fortress.
like I'm looking for a crack at is there any? I'm just like, is Ismark still on the ground?
Good question. Are people trying to rouse him?
No, I am eating. Eating.
I've got my hands full with her. I mean, not literally. But...
Oh.
Is Luis going to try and pick him up?
Yes.
Okay.
I will go and attempt to roust Eastmark once I have sort of determined that Agnes was probably mesmerized and is probably completely oblivious to the implications of her actions.
Reasonable. Yeah, he kind of comes to a little bit, and he's, what happened?
You appear to have had a bit of an episode.
Oh.
You passed out.
I didn't realize I was feeling lightheaded until suddenly I was on the floor.
Yes. You may want to check on your sister. She fled the premises.
Oh dear.
She's right here.
She has returned to the premises. What perfect timing.
She's not the only one.
And he will join you if you want to meet up with everyone in the library.
Yes, we will have a library meetup.
Is Agnes coming, or is she staying alone in the kitchen?
My food is very crunchy. I'm sorry. Agnes is completely oblivious to what's going on. So she's going to eat at a very slow pace with all her proper manners.
I'm sorry. I heard she was going to yeet at her own face, and I was very confused.
Yeah, she's eating food into her own mouth.
Politely.
That's a mood.
Politely.
A polite eat.
With pinkies out.
Yes, pinky's out.
I'd like that on a shirt. I eat politely.
But it's spelled Y, and then in parentheses you have eat in the parentheses.
So you come into the library. Irina still looks incredibly shaken. Ismark has a chance to see her, and he has a moment where You can watch him reprocess everything that was handed to him, and he immediately sits down and kind of just puts his elbows on his knees and looks like he's going to put his head between his knees in a moment as he's trying to process it himself.
I feel like there may have been a gap in the briefing we received yesterday. Perhaps you could share a little bit more with us on the capabilities of this lord.
Irina takes a moment, and then she carefully undoes the thick black ribbon choker she wears.
Oh dear.
And you can see that there's a fresh wound on her neck.
That's what I was afraid of.
This has been the second time that he has come to me. It has been well known for generations, the rumors. No one ever says it straight out. I don't know what to do now. All the wives' tales teach that upon the third bite, I won't have a choice anymore.
Darling's just gonna lean over at Agnes and look what you did.
Agnes is in the kitchen.
Oh, right. Okay.
It's so fitting that Agnes is not in that room.
Okay, okay, hold on. I will edit that. I will go into the kitchen where Agnes is, pick her up with both hands, and carry her back and put her next to Irina and point at the thing and be like, "Look what you did."
Agnes is going to look at Darling and be like, "That was rather rude. I was still eating. I had not finished."
You know what else is rude? Inviting somebody into somebody else's house without their permission.
I don't see what all the fuss is about. He was quite the gentleman.
He did that! And she points at
Irina leaps to her feet. You did what?
Look, look, now you've made her upset.
He was quite the gentleman.
And again, like, just her hands start to shake.
I hope she slaps the shit out of you.
I hope she does too.
You invited him in?
Why wouldn't I?
I'm gonna look at Luis, just like out of the corner of my eye, and say, "Is there anything we can do about this?" And point to Agnes.
Don't know. My understanding is mesmerism usually wears off eventually, but sometimes it doesn't.
Well, that's helpful.
I'm not really a mesmerist.
Well, that's something to be thankful for, I suppose. I'm gonna just like put my focus on like trying to calm Irina down.
I don't know what
like get her back onto the chair or.
She's not. She's back in the doorway.
Okay.
With her hand actually on the molding next to the door as she's processing this.
Okay.
That's the doorway she hid the sword behind last time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just, conversationally.
I'm going to say goodbye to my head now. It's one way to end the mesmerism.
I don't know that I would stop her.
It's one way to end it.
She just has this she's processing this, and you can see that the shaking of the anger mixed with the fear. I don't know where I'll be safe now, if nothing else. Now he's been invited into the house. For a year, we've kept anyone from doing that.
I don't know if there's any way to take back the invitation.
Not once it's been given. Maybe we should see to the day's needs first. Then we can talk about perhaps a place I might go. Maybe a friend or a relative. I can think of someone.
Safe?
If it's another household to which he has not been granted permission to enter, I should be safe there.
No, I meant the hearse that's outside.
The hearse.
Oh, that's convenient.
Hearse. Not a house, or hearse.
A hearse? That's rather convenient. That could be very helpful.
You stay quiet.
I would say that we should ignore it.
Okay, that's fair.
Of course, he would see that as a slight, as would most of the village.
Maybe we don't look a gift hearse in the mouth.
Sorry? Look, I quit.
Yeah, take my money, please. I don't have any, but you can have the dust.
Oh, Lord.
From my bank account.
I couldn't. The minute he said it, I was like, okay, if the opportunity arises, I'm going for it.
Thank you.
It was a
I
matter of
do appreciate it.
who was going to do it first. There we go. Ah. Irina will look at you and actually crack a bit of a wry grin before her face goes back to somber. And she'll say, as you are here to assist, I will defer. I would prefer to bear my father to the graveyard without the assistance of that thing. And I quite know he sent it.
I think at this point, it's the least we can do to carry out according to the young lady's wishes.
Oh, how far is the chapel?
It's unfortunately across to the other side of town.
Okay.
And how are we going to transport the coffin?
I have 2 good shoulders.
I mean, I have shoulders and also -1 to strength, but okay.
Same.
There's
I
we
mean,
only have
shoulders and strength are 2 different things.
one Hulk amongst us, and it's not me either.
But can the 3 of us combined make how much of a Hulk?
A -3.
Are we like half a Hulk or a quarter of a Hulk?
I'm a solid 0.
Okay, so a -2 Hulk. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, but we've also got Irina and Ismark.
Yeah, you got 6 people.
So we've got, so 3.
That's still a -2 because I think they're both just regular humans.
You can handle this.
Okay.
All right, we'll pallbear across town.
You can evenly distribute the weight across your shoulders.
Out of curiosity, has anyone ever actually been a pallbearer in this chat?
No.
I have not.
Having nearly dropped my great-grandfather? Coffins are surprisingly heavy.
True.
Yeah, they're solid wood.
But this one's just a pine box. It doesn't have anything else going on.
I'm going to say solid wood plus dead weight.
Literally.
Literally, yeah.
I mean, you've carried all of us at least once. So
I'm not sure it's proper for Darling to just throw the dead body over her shoulder and say, let's go.
I'm not dead. That's not getting anywhere. No.
Fireman's
you
carry.
just need to be over her shoulder. Across her shoulders, maybe.
No.
We'll do the full pallbearers procession. We can do that as much.
All right.
We'll slight the creepy mesmerist Lord of the Realm.
Shame. It was rather polite of him to leave that for us.
You missed the bite on the neck part of the conversation. That's just weird.
Again.
No, she only pays attention to what she wants to pay attention to.
I don't know what polite company in England get up to these days.
You don't want to know.
That's probably very true. So,
considering what they did to the mummies, you don't want to know.
You make your way.
Should we get this procession on the road?
Yeah, they take the time. Irina and Ismark take a few minutes to put a few boards across the top of the casket and nail them shut. And you also notice sets of tools scattered around the sitting room, as well as a few bits of sawdust. And you can see that they literally built the casket around him. And then you together get it out the door. It's weight, but between the 6 of you, it spreads well. There's even a few parts where you realize that Irina is making a point of shouldering her share. Ismark is a little less enthusiastic about the entire process. The most direct route to the church is going to take you literally through the center of town. And,
is that what Irina wants, or does she want us to be more circumspect?
Oh, no, she's happy to go through the center of town.
All right, center of town it is.
So you...
Thumbing our nose at the Lord.
Do we have any whalers following us?
No.
Aw.
No, but you do notice as you pass the first house that the door opens as you pass. And there's an older woman standing there watching you go, and she just makes a sign and bows her head, and like as soon as the casket has cleared her doorway, the door is shut again. And that happens more than a couple of times as you make your way through town. Windows might have the curtains pulled aside, shutters might be swung open for a moment, but no one says a word to you. The only sounds are your shoes on the gravel road. And as you approach the town center, you hear that wailing again from the one house. The inconsolable cries of a mother from the upstairs window. No one says anything to you about it as you pass. And if you don't ask, you'll soon find yourselves passing through the town center.
I'll certainly ask.
Ismark and I talked about it already. We discussed that last session.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
She doesn't stop, apparently.
You're in a funeral procession. Shush.
Yeah.
Just keep walking. Keep walking.
Time and place. Time and place.
I just picture Darling like, and Luis is like, no, it's fine.
Ixnay on the Eskins Quay. You make
your pig Latin is on point.
Thank you. You head up towards the churchyard, and rather than going directly into the church, the vicar comes out to greet you, and quickly gestures you to pass around behind it to the graveyard. And there we go. There's that. Boink. Now you can see something on the map. If you were so desperate to.
Yeah.
There's a map.
Yay, there's a map.
It's loading.
There we go.
Yay.
Yep. So we have the churchyard. And the church you haven't been in yet.
There it is.
There's the church. Do not look at this thing. This is not another building.
Okay.
That's just there.
Okay.
Because I needed a place to put the basement. It's hard to put the downside to Dungeon Alchemist. Not everything goes on the map easy, as it were. But there's a metal gate here and a metal gate here, both of which are unlocked. There's an iron fence that runs the circumference of the graveyard. And you are directed to bring it in, and there is a grave waiting, actually, that has been dug.
Convenient.
So we didn't have to dig our own.
Not yet.
Not yet. At least there's still a shovel there.
There's lots of room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, plenty.
Is there lots of room?
Yeah, we can make room. Yeah. We can also just dig down farther and then just stack.
Called expansion.
Yeah, like the Romans did. Stack one body on top of another.
Forward plan.
Not a good plan. Not a good plan. Let's use... I need one more. And not get tokens for everybody. Because I suck.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Let me use... Can I use... Let's see. No, not using that one. That one doesn't look good. I'm going to say, for lack of better, I'm just going to use this for good old Ismark. Bunk. There we go. So there's everybody, although these guys are going to be at the front, and y'all would be at the back.
Back.
Yeah. And then you guys probably traded places in order to better spread the weight. Anyway, you have a chance to get in. The vicar again, will walk back with you and help you guide it into position.
Much appreciated.
He rubs his hands a few times and gestures at the shovel. I'm rather sorry for being presumptuous, but it was the least I could do. I did expect you to come down within a day or two.
Your thoughtfulness is appreciated.
Irina will actually take a moment and give him a hug after the casket's been laid in. Well, I suppose I should consider saying a few words. Be inappropriate not to. And as he says that, you hear a howl in the distance.
That's rude.
Like a wolf kind of howl? Or...
Like a wolf. And there's a few moments where he starts to speak again, and then he's almost cut off by another howl that seems closer and louder.
Are the wolves around here prone to attacking in the daytime?
No. Not unless you ventured from town.
Well, we clearly haven't. So I'm sure it's just a coincidence.
I'm going to start, scanning the area.
As you do, you pick up a sound of hooves beating on the cobblestones and the gravel roads with a brisk pace.
Uh-oh.
And in only a few more moments, another pair of black horses emerges around the side of the chapel, coming up onto the lawn. Pulling behind it, a very finely made and maintained carriage. 2 footmen ride on the back of it. One rides on the back, one's driving it. There's gold inlay along every edge of it. And as it comes up next to the gate, you see a very large stylized Z etched into the wood with gold and silver filigree along it to emphasize it against the dark woods. The footman steps down off the back, and you notice it's a woman with this thick brown hair tied up behind her. And she steps around and quickly takes the handle of the door and pulls the door open. And a gentleman steps down. He's dressed impeccably. From the perfectly coiffed black hair to the shiny satin black gloves, into an all black suit with a thin band of red along all of the trim.
I'm going to catch Darling's eye and jerk my head towards Agnes.
Have we put the body down at this point?
Keep an eye on her.
The body is in the grave now.
Okay.
Agnes is smiling politely at this man.
Let's slap the shit out of her. I'm just joking. I'm not slapping her.
Are you sure you're not slapping her?
Are you sure you're not slapping me?
Well, now that you say that.
What a show.
Now that you say that. You try to. I'm not gonna I'm just trying to be hey, snap out of it. That. No, stop. Cease. Desist.
Give me a wisdom save.
Me?
No.
Oh.
No, for Agnes.
Oh.
Okay.
9.
Here's the good news. I was kind of curious how that was going to go. You are not snapped out of anything, but now you're starting to replay the events. And for the first moment, you realize it made no sense to trust this man. Even if it's as simple as he arrives in a horse-drawn carriage with staff. Why was he knocking on the balcony window? Why did he need you, of all people, to invite him in? And suddenly,
that moment when you're halfway waking up from a dream, and you're you could still remember very clearly, but you're wait, that doesn't make sense. It's like that moment where you're trying to, you haven't realized it's nonsense, but you're just like, wait a second.
Or you're trying to discern reality from a dream.
Yep.
Like the lines are kind of blurred.
Yep.
Between the two.
Yeah, this line just got really clear. Like, this is reality. That was a dream, except it wasn't a dream. You really
And it
let him in.
happened.
Yeah.
And she's realizing that was very rude of me to let someone else into a stranger's home.
Mm-hmm.
she's finally realizing that.
Yep.
She's so mad at herself now because that
I
was
made a
not
social
polite.
faux pas. It's not the danger, it's just like the faux pas.
Yeah. It's like, how dare you make me break
rules?
How dare you and me break rules of polite society? How dare you?
So he comes down and he just kind of like comes in to the gravesite and kind of comes over near all of you. His two
Put myself just like in front of Irina.
She actually
not like purposely, but just like, casually, just gonna like slide in front of her.
She puts her hand on your shoulder and takes a step to the side with you. I won't be hiding behind anyone. I can face him.
All right. Agnes is going to try and make up for her mistake earlier with letting him in and say, excuse me, sir, this is a private funeral. Would you mind waiting outside?
Oh, my apologies. I thought it only fitting for me to come pay my respects to the most loyal civil servant. And as near as I could tell, a rather doting and loving father. You would begrudge the master of all that the Ravenloft might see a chance to pay his respects?
This is a family affair. And unless you are family, we're going to say that you will have to wait until we've opened the funeral to the public.
Who could be more family than the ruler of all this valley? The one who decides who lives and dies in it.
So anyone can decide who lives or dies. You just need dedication and some sort of weapon, even your hands. You're not very special in that regard. Could you please wait outside?
Ow! She's
Really should
signing our
have gotten
death
the
warrant.
silent spell.
Yeah.
So Agnes is going to hear in her head, knock it off.
And then she's going to hear outside of her head, shut up.
Irina will actually reach out her hand a little bit towards Agnes. It's all right. I wouldn't begrudge Lord von Tsarevich an opportunity to pay his respects. He knows he's not welcome here.
You are the family. It is your decision. And Agnes is going to back off.
He takes a moment to stroke his chin, fold his hands in front of himself. Well, I rather thank you for the opportunity. I won't stay long. I simply wished to make an appearance, to share my condolences, to once again invite you, perhaps when you have concluded your mourning this morning here, to come back up to the castle, where you can be kept safe from these minions of the night. A place you belong. And she just glares back at him. I don't need you. I don't want your company. Go back up to that roost. You've had your respects. Go. If that's what you are to have, I understand. But I cannot guarantee your safety here. I would hate for your brother to suffer 2 tragedies in such a short period of time. You surely don't think these mercenaries are going to provide you any protection? And he kind of looks. Or perhaps there's showmen to entertain instead.
Amelie just smiles. And I'm going to say, your concern is greatly appreciated.
Then you agree she should come up where it is safe, where there are servants to see to her needs, food upon the tables, never again a want or a fear.
I agree that the lady seems to know her mind best.
I concur. It is rather rude to continue to pursue someone who has shown disinterest.
Rude?
Yes.
I am simply caring after those under my charge, as any good lord does over his land. Surely you understand such. You will begrudge me an opportunity to care after my people?
It seems that you are only seeming to care for those who are of affluent families. What about those in the lower portions of your town? They seem to be struggling. Don't you have a care for them?
Oh, of course I do. They're quite safe, aren't they? You don't see bodies on the streets. They have not been harmed.
They do not seem happy.
Well, I can't exactly speak to such things. I can simply provide them an opportunity to pursue their happiness. It is not a guarantee. But is this to be your lot then? You will again refuse me? It would be unfortunate to have to remind you, my dear young Irina, that I am the only entity in this valley that you can count on. She just glares back at him, and then she spits on the ground.
Oh.
Oh, well then. If you'll excuse me. I believe I shall be returning to the castle. You won't mind, of course, if my houndsman and houndsmistress remain for but a moment. And the driver and the woman, who are dressed in identical livery, kind of look at each other. And the woman takes from behind her, she has a something strapped on her back. She pulls out a whip and just nods at him. And he looks at the vicar. You may proceed with the funeral when it is convenient, my dear friar. And please know it does so with my blessings and my heartfelt apologies for the loss of the wonderful village. Good day. He bows gently, goes back to the carriage. He watches it rocks as he steps up into it, and the door just closes itself.
Leave such a rude man into the house. My goodness gracious. And into a stranger's house, no less.
You hear the crack of a buggy whip, and the horses just start on their own and start to pull the carriage away, leaving the two servants standing just outside the gate.
Well, at least they're keeping their distance.
Are they keeping their distance?
Oh, yeah. They're not coming in.
All right.
They have not come in yet.
So let's continue the funeral while we can.
Put down token. And token. That's right, folks. Hero Forge for the win.
Woo!
Whee!
Also some of the best $15 a month I spend.
Mm-hmm.
And as you watch, the woman with the whip lets it uncoil slowly, and she takes a whistle to her lips and blows. You don't hear any sound.
Well, that howling's going to get closer soon.
Say some quicker words.
Yeah. Let's skip to the end.
The short version.
The vicar says his prayers, and that's when you see them coming from the tree line over here. Boink. Boink. Pack of wolves breaks out of the trees at a full-on charge. And let me get the right number. There.
A lot of wolves.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And they let out the lead one is easily the size of 3 of them put together.
You think they're friendly? Can we pet them?
I don't think.
Can we
they're
pet the
friendly.
doggies?
Don't pet the dog.
They're going to step
I would like to pet the puppies.
just in front of the gate on that side. As the wolves come charging towards the open gate over here. What do you guys want to do in that few seconds as you see them charging at you?
Blame Agnes.
I mean, that's an option.
25, 30. I mean, to be fair, but also Irina did piss him off as well, so we're both at fault here.
Where's the entrance to the church?
That's a good question. There is a door underneath this awning.
Okay.
This is the gate that we came in, right? And that's why it's open still.
No, you came in this gate over here.
Okay.
They were just both open.
Yep.
Oh, they were both open.
They were just both open. As sometimes happens.
Fun.
Does anyone have anything interesting to do before they reach the gate?
Well, I can't run that quickly, so because I wanted to run and try and close the gate, but I don't know if that would do anything.
What's the scale? How far away is the gate?
1 square, 5 feet. We keep it simple here. 13 and 18.
Oh.
How much time do we have, realistically?
Like 1 action worth of time. You have time to do 1 thing before they hit the gate.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. Okay. In that case, I will prepare. I will draw a dagger.
Agnes is going to draw out her rapier.
Oh, wait, that's not right.
Take my gloves off.
Uh-oh.
And
the gloves are coming off.
The pretty dainty gloves are coming off.
Ooh. You're getting ready to break a nail?
And
Wow.
I think I'm gonna take out my dart. A dart.
Okay, give me 1 second to put these on here. What's Darlene doing during all of this? You've been quiet.
We're just like between blaming Agnes and like counting how many like wolves there are and wondering if she can make a new coat out of it.
You can probably make several new coats.
As I'm taking off my gloves, can I say like out the side of my mouth to Luis, I don't suppose you can secure the gate from a distance.
Out of my reach.
Fair enough.
Well, what's the reach? You're thinking mage hand?
30 feet for both mage hand and telekinetic shove. Yeah, I am literally 10 feet too far away for both of the things that could potentially have impacted the gate.
I am missing my cleric right about now.
That was the well, you said 1 action, so I wasn't sure if we
Running's
could
not
move
an
as
action.
well.
Running's running.
All right, then in that case,
can
I'm
run
going
up
to
next to
step
that-
to there.
That little
Which is
sarcophagus?
Yeah, that's as far as I need to go, and then I can yank the gates closed with the power of my mind.
Are you using mage hand or are you casting an actual spell?
Mage hand.
Mage hand. Cool. Mage hand's effective strength is 10.
Mine can push so yes, but mine is using the telekinetic feat, which allows me to shove anything 5 feet.
Aha.
It's a DC 13 strength check to resist my telekinetic shove.
That's what I needed to hear from you. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I needed to hear.
Yeah, just Mage Hand wouldn't do it, but
Got it.
my fancy special souped up Mage Hand could potentially.
Souped up Mage Hand.
What are we attempting to perceive? I just saw a perception check fire off.
I don't know. I
It's
might have
not me.
misclicked when I was changing windows.
It wasn't me.
Weird. Okay, I'm still. Unfortunately, I forgot that you guys leveled, so I'm updating the combat track with everybody's actual hit points. 21 and 13. All right, so let me do that. Then let's see how this goes.
Who only has 13?
No, 21. It's 13 armor class.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Squishy mage is squishy.
Roll initiative.
Here we go.
And combat.
oh
take a
my
double digit.
god, are you serious?
Okay, Agnes goes off on 10. Amelie goes off on 9. I misspoke. Agnes goes off on 8. Darlene? Well, there we go. Now I can see what's going on.
Oh, I guess.
Wow, I really can't see anything today. I'm blind. I refreshed it and I forgot to scroll it down. So now I can update that correctly. Darlene's on 4. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
11.
We love to see it.
Boink. Okay, the gate is currently closed. Amelie has first action. What would she like to do?
Hang on, I'm pulling up the initiative tracker. Okay. The door to the church, is that shut? Like the door
It is
inside
currently
the
shut,
church?
yes.
Okay. What's the range on my darts? 20 feet, yeah. Okay. I'm going to use all of my movement speed to book it towards, well, hang on. If I wanted to run towards the door, pulling Irina behind me, what would that look like? Like the whole goal of this turn for me is to get as close to the door and opening it as I can with like Irina with me. Like I'm just gonna start pulling her towards and running towards the door.
Okay. She'll come with you.
Okay.
Although her
movement speed is, yeah, but if I'm like taking an action to help her along, like if that's all I'm doing this turn,
sure.
Or how does that look?
She'll follow you. She'll keep up with you.
Because I can't do anything at the wolves from this distance.
Okay, so where are you going to end up?
Let's see.
And while you're doing that, the wolves will have their actions.
So my full movement, I think, would put me at about here.
Okay. She tails along, and you notice that she has also drawn a dueling blade that she had strapped on when you left.
I'm going to keep an eye on these two off to the side as well.
Okay. They're just standing watching the open gate.
That's fine. I'm just going to keep an eye on them. And that's my turn.
Okay. That takes us to the wolves. They're going to do their thing at their full speed. And let's see, what exactly is that thing at their full speed? The first one is going to slam into that gate. Oh, that's not good. The gate is now open.
Oh, well, that didn't take long.
I barely slowed them down.
Well, the good news is they slammed into the gate, but they have come to a stop. So, and the large one is kind of following along behind the pack. As the two smaller ones got to it first and hit it in unison, and they have been stopped at the gate. It did its job. It slowed him down. So what does Lewis do in response?
What does Luis do in response? Okay, you're taking Arena and running towards there. Istmark and the Vicar are still chilling out by the open grave. We have creepy Houndmaster and Mistress behind us, and the wolves at the gates.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It is time to make a magic bubble appear in Luis's hand as he whispers at the pack alpha.
Magic bubbles.
Dissonantly.
Ooh.
I'm going to cast Dissonant Whispers.
Whisper dissonantly.
It's Wisdom DC 13.
Wisdom DC 13. Wisdom DC 13. What happens on a pass? Is that the cantrip or is that a spell?
It's a spell.
Ooh, so something happens.
Yeah, failed save. It takes 3d6 psychic damage and immediately use its reaction if available as far as possible. Sexual, it takes half as much damage and doesn't have to move away.
Okay. So it still takes 9 damage.
Yes.
Hey, you know
it said 3d6. So weird quirk of warlocks. We pretty much always cast our spells at our highest level. So that was the third level description, or the first level description. At second level, it adds a 6d6.
Okay.
Yeah, we only have one power level, and it's maximum.
I don't think that's actually true, but
it's kind of how it's certainly how the character builder is treating it.
Yeah.
I'll have to go read my book afterwards to make sure.
Yeah, I think there's something weird going on with warlocks and D&D Beyond.
Okay.
Yeah, because the big thing with warlocks is by default, their spells always cast at whatever level they're at.
Oh.
I don't know if you're allowed to tick it back down because our spell slots are weird. Like, we don't get a lot of them, but they come back at a short rest. But they're always at whatever our max level is.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, warlocks are weird.
That makes some sense.
But the big upside to being a warlock is you get your very limited number of spell slots come back on a short rest instead of a long.
Okay. Yes, the alpha has definitely taken some damage from that as it flattens its ears and kind of slides on the dirt and just sort of like locks eyes with you and growls.
Oh, good. I made a friend.
Oh, yes, you did. Martina does nothing. She's guarding there. Agnes, what you doing?
Woo! Agnes, seeing that Darling has, Miss St. Clair has taken Irina down that way. She's gonna kind of, let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, okay. She's gonna go around here because that's my full movement.
Okay.
And try and, as they're trying to run, she's gonna try and fend them off to keep them from Irina.
Okay.
She's gonna act defense.
Okay. Are you gonna ready an attack or anything then, since you're not taking attack action?
Yeah, I'm gonna hold my attack action with my rapier.
Okay. So as a reaction, if something comes into your zone, you can hit it.
Yep.
Done. 3, they all had their moves already to keep them simple. And then it comes to Darlene.
Okay. Well, you done pissed off the doggies. So that's 10. Guess I'll go. Where was it? I think. Okay. And I will. Throw a dagger at the one in the front.
Okay. Let's flip up under your hand and Throw out a combat knife.
I'm not hitting anything tonight. I swear to God.
You know, it's hard to hit. It's moving fast. There's a lot of them. That makes some sense. That makes some sense. That's going to move us to the top of the combat round. What is Amelie up to?
So who's still back over by the grave?
Ismark and the Vicar are still kind of heading back into the corner and trying to pretend they are statues.
Fair enough.
Mark bravely ran away.
This isn't really his jam.
I am going to tell Irina to get the door open. I'm going to just kind of gently shove her in that direction. And I'll move over here. And I'll pull out my, what's it called? Pull out my parasol and get ready in case the wolf comes over here. But I'm going to encourage her to get the door open and be ready.
Okay. Reasonable. Wolves 2 and 1 have their actions. They're going to come, one's going to come charging up to Darling. So is the other one. That makes sense. They're happy to do that. So one comes charging up, snaps at her with its teeth. And she's going to take 12, and I need a strength save.
You know what?
You're not dead.
No.
You're in trouble, but you're not dead.
What? You said it's a 12, right?
It's what?
You said it's a
12
12
damage. Yep.
Yeah,
12
okay.
damage. I have you at 20. The other one's going to come up, and now that you've been pulled to the ground,
great.
It's going to pounce. So this might get messy. Oh, the good news is you're okay. It did not do any appreciable damage. The Hound Master does nothing but watch. Wolf 4 is going to come charging 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You do get your ready to attack. If you want to hit it with your staff.
Yep.
Or parasol as it was.
I'll make an attack with my parasol. That's the one. That's the. Is it the? Which one is it? The D8 or the? Never mind. +5 first. Attack first. Well, that wasn't great.
That's a whiff. So it doesn't matter how much damage you would do. You missed.
Can I spend a key point to make a flurry of blows?
Not on a reaction attack.
Okay.
Because it's not technically an attack action.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, wait, I forgot. The wolf actually gets to do something. No, it doesn't.
Boy.
What's Luis doing? You fend it off as it snaps at you. Meanwhile, Luis has a chance to take in everything going on and go, oh.
This is probably fine. I am going to bonus action telekinetic shove, wolf number 1 away from Darling. Resistance strength check 13. Stress saving throw.
It fails. Does it take damage from that?
Nope, it just gets pushed 5 feet away.
Okay. It has been pushed.
All right, and then I am going to Eldritch Blast the other one.
Always a solid choice.
Only an 11.
Which one? Number 2?
Yes.
That will not hit.
That's
unfortunate.
A little bit of a bummer, yeah.
I will point out, though, at this point, is, yeah, I should do that. I'll look into that for next week. Agnes watches as Luis just reaches out with his hand and bright cackling blue energy launches out of his hands and slams into the ground next to the wolf. Just point of clarity there.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Oh, don't worry, you've got a couple because nope.
It's usually yellow.
You have the next action. Yellow energy. Sorry.
Yeah.
That said, before you do anything, Irina starts to run for this door. She's going to step up and crack her whip right at that square to make Irina stop. Now you're up.
Oh, it's that kind of party.
I guess I should probably put Irina on the combat tracker too.
How would Agnes handle this? Oh my goodness. She'd be so incredibly thrown off.
I don't know. There's wolves trying to eat all of you. You might be focused more on
but
not
they're
dying.
wolves. And I just saw magic. Or something. I don't know. She's gonna shove that into a box for a later time.
Things to process later.
I'm gonna process this maybe later, never. She's gonna hear the whip crack, and she's gonna see that this lady has moved up to maybe interfere with Irina, and she's like, I'm not letting this happen again. I'm not letting anyone near her again. And she's going to, let's see, 1, 5, 10, 15, 20. Where are we gonna go? Here. It's close enough. And she's gonna say, if you're looking for a fight, I can make it a fair one. Kind of getting in between these two and Irina.
Okay, that's fair. Combat actions, or you're just preparing yourself in case she actually comes after you?
Yeah, holding my action until she attacks.
Fair enough. 3 is going to no longer be left out of the fight. It's going to charge in and pounce on Darlene. Ineffective. Oh, wait, but she's prone. Oh, there we go. Oh, that wasn't so bad. You only have to take 8 for that.
That's getting pretty bad. I don't know.
That's
not.
And then the big one. Let's see. It's actually going to get to about there. As it comes charging around the rest of its pack and is just barreling down on Louise.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Darlene has a chance to stand up.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
First off, I'm gonna rage. We're not happy about these darn dogs. Mangy mutts. And then I'm gonna hit number 2.
Okay.
With the rapier.
Okay.
I swear to God, I can't even see my own dice. Oh!
A natural 20.
And then on top of that, what is that?
Divine Fury?
Yeah, the Divine Fury is active as long as I'm raging and I hit it with a weapon.
Okay, so it takes that damage, and then you still have to roll you have to roll your rapier damage still, too.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, that one.
You gotta do the actual weapon damage.
Yeah. That one.
And you critted, so roll it again. So a total of 19.
Yeah, jerk.
That was number 2.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Woo!
Nice.
As it is cut twain. Not bad. Not bad at all. What's Amelie doing?
Square round of action. I am focused on this critter right in front of me. I will make an attack with my parasol and then spend a key point to do a flurry of blows.
Okay. Now the monk does all the damage.
Hopefully. Does a 14 hit?
14 will hit.
14 will hit. Okay. Is it the 1d6 damage or the 1d8 damage?
You don't have anything in your offhand, so you could two-hand it with your parasol.
All right, I'll two-hand it.
Jeez.
I'll take that, and then we'll spend a key point and
Well,
do a
it's
flurry
actually
of
dead.
blows. Oh. Okay.
How much move do you
It's
have?
just beating down on the corpse.
Does Flurry of Blows let you switch targets? To make 2 unarmed strikes as a bonus action does not say it has to be against the same target.
Okay.
So you could just you're not that far from any one target.
Okay, I will.
Literally everybody is in range.
Right, I'm just trying to figure out. Darling's not prone anymore, right?
No, she did stand up, but there are 2 wolves in close proximity.
Yes.
There's also the one that's snarling at Louise. And kind of like hunkering towards him.
Okay. Seeing how okay, so there's 2 on Darling still. Okay. I'll head over and take out or work on number 1.
Okay.
And that's
2 unarmed strikes.
2 unarmed strikes.
As it were. So the first one is not going to hit. Second one.
Okay.
Hits. So damage.
That one hits.
That got its attention. By the way,
all right.
Andy, did it take any damage from that push?
No, the push does not do damage.
I think I asked you that, didn't I?
You did, but that's okay.
I did. I'm just making sure.
It's a weird thing. Yeah, it's a bonus action that can either yank something 5 feet closer to me or push something 5 feet further away from me.
That's handy.
And the trade-off for it being a bonus action is it doesn't do any damage. It's just a really handy way for a spellcaster to get people out of his face.
Yes. Yes.
Out of melee range.
Speaking of out of face, Irina's going to take a look at Agnes and say, I think we have other fights. And then she will pivot on her heel and take a few steps. The ceremonial sword she was carrying with her jacket seems to be perfectly valid as she lunges at that wolf with it and scores a almost insignificant hit on it. But it gets its attention. Good night.
Oh no.
I love you. And there she goes. And that then takes us to number 1, who is going to turn its attention now on. Let's see, where is everybody? Yep, his attention on Amelie because she's right there. Ow. Amelie can take 14, right?
Ooh.
There she is. Yeah, she can take 14.
Technically. Yikes.
And I need a strength check.
Okay. Strength check. Straight strength.
Yep. Hey, you don't get pulled to the ground.
A lot worse.
You do not get pulled to the ground. The Houndmaster is going to step up next to the other of the 2 into the doorway. Does nothing else. Luis.
Okay, so we've got an angry Houndmaster and Hound Mistress who clearly want to watch us get eaten by wolves.
Sure.
But cute, twice bitten, once not shy girl has decided to engage my best friend. My best friend in this instance being the giant wolf. All right. I am once again going to ask him politely to leave. Another wisdom DC 13 check.
Okay. Wisdom DC 13 fails.
That's what I wanted to hear. So that's 15 damage, and it must use its reaction if it has it to run away from me.
Okay, so it's going to go there, because it has to. It's going to be able to move about there. It has to move its full move?
Has to move its full move directly away from me without going into, like, obviously dangerous terrain. Like, you won't jump into lava.
Yeah, it had no way to avoid Irina's blades anywhere it went. So she's going to land a few more hits on it as it runs. And that takes us to... she is not actively attacking anyone. She's just holding her position, which gets us to Agnes.
Yep.
And she kind of... Her whole action is to pull the whip in, and with like a flurry of her wrist, twist it up into a ring. So she's holding it coiled again and just pull against it in front of you. Like, okay, if you want to fight me, go for it. Without saying that. That's just that.
Is this gate open or closed?
The gate that they're standing by?
Yeah.
Is open. They're standing in, they're both like shoulder to shoulder blocking it.
All right.
They will not be phased if you close it.
Yeah. Wait, does the gate open inwards or does it open like...
It opens inwards.
Inwards? Great.
Darn.
You can close on them
Agnes...
if you want, but that might not be the most pressing issue at hand. There are people being mauled by wolves behind you.
I think we've established Agnes is not always focused on the most pressing issue.
Right. Start balancing encounters for 3 third-level characters.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, considering that Irina has moved away and she's rolled up her whip. Let's see, how quickly can I go? 1, 5, 10, 30. Agnes is gonna move. Give them both a glare, and then she's gonna move right up here into this wolf's business, and she is going to attack it with her rapier.
Cool. I'll watch to see where the D20 lands. A 22.
Okay.
Roll your damage and 3rd level sneak attack.
Yep.
Stinking rogues.
Woo.
Okay. 16 damage.
Jeez. Which one is that one? That's 3.
3.
3 hasn't even been looked at the wrong way yet. And Agnes just walks up to it and dispatches it. Just kind of storms over there, and the rapier is like, thwap! And it's just like, the wolf doesn't even have time to look up. It's still barking at Darling as the sword cuts, slides right into it and back out again, and it slumps. Hate rogues. Can the dire wolf do things again?
I don't know, can it?
I don't know, that's a question for Andy.
It's a single turn effect.
Okay.
It's free to move it.
It gets its action again.
It scares it, but then it can just do whatever it wants afterwards.
Okay. It is going to come after Amelie then.
Okay, real quick, I have new features that I haven't figured out yet. So if I named my my parasol as my Kensei melee weapon. So Agile Parry says if I make an unarmed strike as part of the attack action on my turn and I'm holding my Kensei weapon, I gain a +2 bonus to AC until the start of my next turn while the weapon is in my hand and I'm not incapacitated. Does that apply now? If I made my attack with my Kensei weapon, which is my parasol.
Hold on, let me double check.
New subclass, I don't know how any of it works yet.
Okay, so there's a red flag on the field. The ref is going to the booth to watch the replay.
Okay, because I'm looking at that going, okay, I feel like I was supposed to have +2 in my AC.
Refreshing
Which
your
is-
page so I can see this to agile parry. Okay. If you make an unarmed strike as part of the attack action on your turn, you did that.
Right.
We're holding a Kinsei weapon. You are doing
That's
that.
my parasol. Mhm.
You gain a +2 AC until the start of your next turn while the weapon is in your hand and you aren't incapacitated. Hey, Reckless. Fitting for you to drop in right now. So, yes, you do get that +2 to AC, which, as that massive alpha wolf comes charging at you, it
It's gonna
takes
come
a
in handy.
face full of parasol. Because that's why it doesn't get you.
Okay.
Is you just spin that umbrella around.
Face full of parasol.
Yeah, it's actually, it might even be one of those, like, it comes at you and then, like, pop, pop. And it's like, ooh, what? Because, yes, our monk uses a parasol as her favorite weapon.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking of that scene from Indiana Jones 2 with the father and his umbrella and the seagulls.
Absolutely.
Already very. Okay, that now falls to our muscle. How is Darlene doing?
I'm hurt, but I'm okay. Let's see here. I'm gonna skirt around. I was hurt bad before I could even rage, and now I'm even madder about it. So I'm just gonna go right for the big one. We're gonna, pardon me. Whoop. Dear God, please.
Come on, the die goes down. A 23. That's a hit.
Oh, that was oh, and then
8 from the rapier plus another 4 from the divine fury. It's going to total out to 12. That wolf is down. If I can type. And he is off the board. Wow, he really didn't get to do a lot. Poink. Is that it for our...
I used, 10 feet? I'm going to use the remainder. I'm going to go towards those douchebags.
Okay.
They're next on my list.
They haven't done anything yet. They're just standing there.
I don't care. I don't like them.
You're going to go pick a fight with two people just standing there?
Yes. They were with the douchebag.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you pick a fight with people who are just standing there?
They were with the regal douchebag.
Yeah, they're looking at us funny.
Okay. Well, how's our debutante doing?
I'm feeling pretty good actually. I mean, my health points aren't doing so great, but I'm like, ooh, I got this. Okay, so there's there's one right in front of me. I will.
It's fun to see a player playing off character because you're always so excited at all the things you're not used to being able to do.
Yes, exactly. I'm not used to dealing damage during.
She's never playing a cleric again, folks. You saw it here first. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm distracting you.
No, you're fine. I think I'm. How's this wolf looking in front of me?
It's tired, but not yet injured.
Okay.
It's a little overwhelmed at the fact that there's, this person that just like thwacked one and thwacked another. And it's definitely feeling a little bit of like, maybe I've made some bad choices with my life.
Understandable.
Perhaps I should have chased after that small furry yellow globe that was thrown as opposed to eating the person throwing it. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I think we're going to do the same thing I did last time. I'm going to attack with my parasol, and if I have to, we'll spend another key point, but we'll see where this gets me.
Yeah, I'd wait until you see how that goes.
Okay.
That's a miss.
Well, that's a miss.
Popping the key point.
All right. Yep, spending a key point.
Okay.
1.
So that's the first unarmed
That's
strike.
another
Still a
miss.
miss. Third one.
All right.
She leaps, kicks, and punches.
Oh, okay. Well, that was not my turn. That was not. Oh, wait. Oh, that's a 7. Okay, I thought that was a 1.
No.
The one on the 1 looks like a 7. Or the 7 looks
Yeah.
like a 1, and it throws me off every time.
But a 12 still isn't good enough.
You know, it's not as bad, so that's okay.
I'll take this a quick moment to mark that, by the way, those are things. Use them at any time, but you have to do it before we move on to the next action. You get one for free. Go for it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So that being the case, our monk is tapped.
Wait, do we have rerolls? I don't.
We don't have any yet tonight.
Okay, so
the
yeah.
Book of Fate appears to be a goose egg.
Right.
That's okay. It happens. You guys got this.
Okay.
You got
Yeah,
this.
there's only
Yeah,
one
we got
puppy
this.
left.
There's only one left. We're good.
Yeah.
And our barbarians raging towards 2 completely fresh combatants we know nothing about.
Yeah. And the wolves aren't damaged too badly, so we can make some really nice cloaks out of them.
Okay, so Irina, for her part,
Says the person who's still at full health.
is not to be dissuaded. Yep, she will step up to do her part to support this fight. And since Amelie has it well and truly distracted, she'll lunge with her rapier and not quite get it all the way down. It doesn't want to die.
This wolf's a dodgy bugger.
It is. So for its part, it's going to lash out at Irina to no appreciable effect. Luis, Andy, what is our resident magician doing?
Feeling very tired and being out of spell slots. Yeah, not a lot of gas left in that particular tank.
Yep.
He is
Bread and butter. Bread and butter.
I hate baking bread and butter. Fine. Cast another Eldritch Blast.
Hey, you took this
That
class,
sounded
man.
so sulky.
I know.
Yeah, why are you sad?
We're on session
Eldritch
4,
Blast.
and he's already like having class regret.
Dude,
I
you've
love
used
the
this
water
spell,
spell.
what, twice?
This makes the third casting. To be clear, I love Warlock, and this is mostly Luis speaking through me because it's so. What did I roll? A number.
You hit. Put down damage.
Awesome.
This is so.
It's just so overt, and he likes to be subtle.
Jeez.
He also likes
Which
to
one
hit
are
like
you
a truck.
hitting? Who are you hitting, by the way?
The last standing wolf.
Okay.
That as this blast of yellow energy hits it, there's a moment where everyone within 10 feet can see the entire skeletal system of the wolf as it seizes up and then just turns ashen white as it like falls backwards.
Well, there goes that part of somebody's coat.
Sorry.
Okay, she's still holding her action, but she looks pissed. What's Agnes going to do?
Agnes has another event to shove into the box that never sees daylight.
It's starting to sound like more like trauma than just skepticism.
This did not happen. This did not happen.
This is like compartmentalizing as a survival strategy.
Yes. But aside from that,
You need to be a level 7 friend to unlock.
so the first 2 seconds, compartmentalization. The other 5 seconds of the combat round?
She's gonna look back at the two there, see if they've done anything.
They look like they're ready. They're not unafraid to come in here for a little scrap. Plus,
All right,
Darlene is charging at them.
I'll give you a little scrap. while
Agnes is
while
gonna
like
go after Darling because Darling's looking a little
while
mauled.
bleeding all over the place. Talking about, I'll give you a.
She's gonna make sure Darling doesn't die, and she's gonna kind of keep pace with Darling as she runs.
Okay.
Get her way up to her.
Reasonable. Darlene.
Here comes that little scrap.
You come charging up with your axe out. Oh, rapier. That's right. You're using a rapier.
Oh!
A natural 20.
Woo woo!
Landing 10 damage on its own, plus an additional.
Oh.
I think, doesn't Divine Fury double too? I feel like it should.
If you say so. Oh, darn.
When you extra damage. So is this necrotic or radiant damage?
Radiant.
Radiant damage. Okay, I'm going to lump that all into one damage type because it makes my life easier on the bookkeeping. I don't want to do that much math. 17, 16, 17. Okay, 17 damage. That was a heck of a hello.
Bitch!
that was a heck of a hello. You come charging up and that axe comes right down and you not only do you like slice into like shred the front of her vest and shirt, but you actually cut the whip in half. And she just drops the scraps of leather to the ground and starts to smile at you. And then you hear from inside the server chest a rumbling as she lets out a howl of her own.
Ah, she's a fucking werewolf! Yeah, all right, come on. Let's go. Put him up. Dukes.
Boink and boink. Let's see how this goes next week.
A mid-fight cliffhanger.
Oh boy.
Agnes can't be a skeptic anymore. There's no denying this.
Agnes is gonna have to have a talk with herself.
Tune in next week for werewolf combat and a psychic break.
You get to see a mental breakdown. It's a mental breakdown. Because you noises.
I do appreciate this group, unlike others, is able to like you swing, but man, you come back hard too. We've had some really good, intense in-character moments too. So I appreciate the depth of this particular table.
Thanks.
It's been fun. Let me, for my part, record where we currently are on the damage tracker, just in case anything weird happens between now and next Sunday. And let's go around the table with who we are, who we were, and what our star moment of the night was. What stood out as like incredibly cool, fun, awesome, just memorable. The thing that you would say, gosh, I want more of that in this game because it was cool. And we're going to start reverse order. So, Arwen, you're up first.
I am Arwen Atreides. I was playing Amelie St. Clair. And I got a really big kick out of Louise just yelling, stop, straight into Agnes's mind as she's sassing the Lord. She's mouthing off. I'm just picturing Agnes like, oh, what the heck?
There was the stop and then the shut up.
Shut up.
She probably thought it was just her brain translating. Darling, she probably didn't even register that someone else was in her head.
That went in the box.
It went in the box. It went into the brain and into the box.
That's what we're saying. So, like, things aren't even processing. They're just going like in the brain and straight in the box. Don't pass go. Don't collect 200.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's fair. Kaidapon, you're
you
up.
Get her.
Hi, I am Kaidapon. I was playing Darling Odessa, who almost died before even ranging.
You should pop your second wind.
You know, we're gonna have to do it now. And yeah, geez, favorite moment. I think it's all the stuff that Agnes is gonna have to put in the box. She's like the moment of hesitation where she's like, "What am I gonna do?" Well, first off, we're gonna put that in the box. Like, this box is about to explode. And the final moment of, oh, we can't deny it anymore.
Yeah. I imagine her boxes are little sarcophaguses in a line. And you're just like, okay, into that one and close, in that one and close.
Little caponic jars. By
Yeah,
the way,
oh
June,
yeah, the little jars.
June, you're up.
Okay. Gosh. I'm June. I play Agnes, the no longer can deny the supernatural skeptic. Agnes Devereaux, the rogue. My star moment was Amelie opening her parasol into the face of the dire wolf, effectively stopping it from eating her.
That's just such a cartoony perfect moment in my brain. I'm gonna savor that all week.
Yeah, I just see you pausing, turning to it, popping open the umbrella, and immediately closing it as it tries to bite you.
Yeah.
Andy, you're up.
I am OuterDork, or Andy. I am playing Luis Harburg, the magician / warlock. My moment for the evening was definitely mic drop second where Agnes took that half step too far forward. Oh, you're close enough. I can see your eyes. And the whole table went, hell. That was just such a great, well, you stepped in it. What happens now? And then the whole rest of that scene played out. But I just loved that moment of that one half step too far.
And then, of course, that half step too far that led to, look what you did.
Yep. No, it's fine. You totally invite people in strangers' houses. That's just how it's done.
Yeah, totally. Have you ever heard of Xenia?
Wait a minute. That was just glorious.
I also appreciated
I feel
that
so special this week.
Agnes's biggest regret was, well, that was really rude of me. This is not like
You
I
made
accidentally
me
killed
break
my best
form
friend.
of
This
high
is that
society.
little tiny social thing that you lay in bed like years later and you're like, oh, remember that one time I invited a stranger to somebody else's house?
It's the
And
same.
it merely led to her
Remember that one time I
by a
farted in class
psychopath.
and everybody heard it?
That is rough. That is undeniably rough. And my name is Rob, aka Lantern Noir, and I got to be everybody else tonight, which was a lot of fun. I just had a lot of fun. I have no particular star that sticks out because it was just great stuff from start to finish. There was just a lot of good stuff going on and some really good characterization, some really good storytelling, some good character growth. Oh gosh. So that's where we are. We are going to take a few minutes. Yeah, it's good to have you here as well as Taki. Thank you for everyone that was here in the chat. Everyone that popped in. People who added in and joined the family, in particular, SRC and Rolls After Dark. If you were still here, thank you for joining the family with the follow. It was a busy night, to be perfectly clear. Also, I wonder why that didn't show over there. Oh, well, I'll figure it out some other time. So we are going to head over to, I had this figured out. Where are we going? Akai. Is that where we're going? Yes. We're going to pop, no, that's where we're going to go. I thought I had that pulled up and open. Coco Confession is currently playing Legend of Zelda. She is an amazing content creator, so we're going to send you over there to enjoy her stream. She's a lot of fun. You're going to have a great time. We are going to take a few minutes to talk about our wishes. So please, when you arrive, bring my thanks. Then some of us are going to hang out for a little while longer and have an off-stream chat where we're going to be talking about some other things that we didn't get to in our stars, which is part of kind of the fun of that. And you'll see that at patreon.com/Lantern Noir sometime tomorrow or maybe is no later than tomorrow afternoon. So if you're a Patreon, come on and enjoy that. And if not, well, maybe consider it because you're missing out on some fun content. Thank you for coming out tonight. We appreciate it. My next scheduled stream is Wednesday night as we continue the Convergence, which is my homebrew post-apocalyptic fantasy game at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And I'll also mention if you look down, there's a link to startplaying.games. I have a Learn to Play D&D session scheduled for Friday. So you too can learn how to do the amazing stuff that you can't learn to do what they do, but you can learn to approximate it your way. So hopefully we'll see you there. Until then, folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, please, above all else, stay safe.